Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I pray that you guys are all very, very well and in the best of health. And a very warm welcome to episode 2 in this series that we're doing here on the Arabic in 60 Steps YouTube channel, where we're walking through the Arabic book of Aladdin. In the previous video, I kind of outlined some rules for a little competition that we're doing, because we're doing a giveaway of one of these really cool Galaxy Qur'an moon lamps. I'm going to do a little demo for you in a second of how you use it with the app, but we'll do that really quickly because we want to get into the main nitty-gritty of the Arabic, obviously. So that's it, just to understand all of the rules for how you'll be given a chance to win that, as well as some merch, one of these mugs as well, whether you want it in white or black. We can do either, and one of these jumpers as well. I've washed this jumper, by the way, since last video, so you know that it doesn't fade or anything. Sometimes that's annoying if you get printed jumpers and stuff, and you wash them and then they fade, but no worries with that. Cool, so let's just get into it then. Actually, after just thanking the students on the Arabic in 60 Steps program, obviously because they pay for the program, that allows us to sponsor free series on YouTube just like this. So for those of you who are watching on YouTube, we thank the students for that. And for those of you listening on the podcast as well, we thank the students for making that possible as well. So let's get into it then. So at the end of last lesson, we talked about this name, Aladdin, and that's quite a nice way to end that lesson and have a segue into this one, actually, I suppose, because that's what it's all about. It's one of these idafa names. Ala'u ad-dini. Ala'u, obviously having one dhamma on the end, and that's kind of, in the Arabic language, you kind of make the mistake sometimes of teaching beginners that words are definite in Arabic if they have el on the beginning, or the. But that's not necessarily the case, because with a mudaf like this, the first part of an idafa construction, you do not have the elif and the lam on a mudaf, but you do just have the one dhamma on the end, which the singular of that is the thing which in this case tells us that it is definite. So a'la'u, how did we translate that in the last lesson? I think it was the nobility or something, or the highness of ad-din, of the deen, and that's the name. So in the previous lesson we talked about his father, I believe was Mustafa al-Khayyat. Thank you, by the way, for telling me, so whoever it was in the comments who told me al-Khayyat would be a tailor. For some reason I only had the word seamstress in my head, but tailor is a better translation of it. So let's get into it, okay? So وَلَمْ يُرْزَقْ مُصْطَفَى الْخَيَّاطُ مِنَ الْأَوْلَادِ غَيْرَ وَلَدٍ وَاحِدٍ سَمَّاهُ عَلَاءُ الدِّينِ. So I don't have the pen tablet with me, so I'll just highlight the different words as we go. So we have وَلَمْ يُرْزَقْ. So those of you on the Arabic in 60 Steps program, go to step 11, actually. This will be a useful example for that, because this is a fi'l majzoom. Lam means didn't, and yurzaq is wasn't provided with, or wasn't given the rizq of something. So the verb razaqa yarzuqu, I believe, but this is the passive, hence why it's yurzaq. We do passive verbs in only step 8, I think. I think it's step 8. Yeah, we do passive verbs. So, walam yurzaq, Mustafa al-Khayyat. So, Mustafa al-Khayyat was not provided with. Min al-awladi. So, min al-awlad, of children. He was not provided of children, or of, literally, a waladun is a boy, and al-awlad is the boys. But in this case, we kind of infer that it means children, really. غير ولد واحد. Except, other than, غير is other than rather than except. For except we use إلا, but غير is sort of other than. ولد واحد, one walad. Something that's worth noting when you're, especially for those of you who are from a background where you speak Arabic at home or something, and you're coming into this and you're kind of trying to fusha your Arabic. Quite an important distinction is that I always hear people in Arabic say wahad. They use the term wahad, but in Fusha it's always wahid, wahidun. So what did Mustafa al-Khayyat do with his walad wahid? Sammahu Alauddin. Samma. So the verb samma, yusammi, is a form 2 verb, final week form 2 verb, and it's usually written with an alif maqsura on the end. I'm going to highlight it so you know what I'm talking about. Without the hu on the end, meaning his, or him in this case, it would be with an alif maqsura. But Arabic doesn't like to have an alif maqsura and then a pronoun on the end. It can't, so it turns into an alif tawila. So sammahu, he named him. Samma, means just the verb samma means to name someone. سماه, and he named him Alauddin. We've talked about the name Alauddin and the grammar involved in it. وكان يحبه حبا شديدا, and he loved him a severe loving. This is a little construction in Arabic called maf'ul mutlaq, where you use the masdar of the verb and then you describe the masdar, right? So let me show you what I mean with this example. So وكان يحبه, and he loved him. You know, he was loving him. He loved him. He loved him a love, a severe love. كان يحبه حبا شديدا. A really common example, like all Arabic teachers in the West and in the Middle East use this. They say ضربه ضربا شديدا. So ضربه, he hit him ضربا شديدا. And that's maf'ul mutlaq because ضرب is the masdar of the verb ضرب. So like when we translate that into English, it doesn't kind of Englishify very well, but but that is kind of the literal translation. وَكَانَ يُحِبُّهُ حُبًّا شَدِيدًا, and he loved him a severe loving. I mean, most examples you'll see tend to use the term shadid to describe the masdar, but it doesn't have to be. But those are kind of the, I don't know, maybe the easiest examples to come up with. Good. وَلَكِنَّ. وَلَكِنَّ just means but. But there's another word for it, وَلَكِن, with a sukoon on the end. But when the only difference is that when it's وَلَكِنَّ, it becomes from the sisters of inna. So the word that comes after it, or the word that it governs, would be mansoob, or what that usually means is having fathahas on the end. So if you said something like, but the coffee is delicious, or something, but you were saying وَلَكِنَّ, and using this kind of one, it needs to be وَلَكِنَّ الْقَهْوَةَ لَذِيذَةٌ. Inna and her sisters and kana and her sisters, they're kind of the opposite way around in terms of making the the ism and the khabar, mansoob and marfu'. We go over that more in step 10 for those of you guys who are on the program. Good. Kana kama qultu lakum. So kana, he was, kama qultu lakum, as I said to you, as I told you. You know, he's kind of, it's the, you know, the style which the author is using here is very kind of oral. It's very like, it's very much how you would tell an oral story. I mean, even at the beginning, if we go back to here, it says, you know, the writer is saying, أتعرفون بلاد الصين أيها الأطفال الأعزاء. You know, it's kind of, it's very, it's meant to be read like it's an orally told story. You know, do you know the land of China, oh dear children? Good. Okay, so كان كما قلت لكم, he was, just as I said to you, فقيرا. He was, as I said to you, فقيرا. And it needs to be فقيرا because it is the khabar of kana. And a khabar of kana is mansoob. فلم يستطع, another example of using لم with a fi'l majzoom, and he was not able أن يعلم ولده. And he was not able to يعلم. Well, the verb alima means to know something, and the form 2 of it, or often the form 2 of a verb, is to do that thing to another person. So allama, the form 2, would mean to make someone else know or to teach them. So he was not able to يعلم ولده. He was not able to teach his child or teach his son. وكان يتركه يقضي يومه كله في خارج البيت. وكان يتركه. So the verb taraka, yatruku, means to leave something. It can also mean to give up something. If you are mudmin ala tadkhin, for example, if you're addicted to smoking, mudmin ala something, meaning to be mudmin ala or mudmin an? Mudmin ala sounds right to me, but if you know, put it in the comment section below though. Good. So he left him. وَكَانَ يَتْرُكُهُ. He left him يَقْضِي يَوْمَهُ. So the verb قضى يقضي means to spend time somewhere. In the past tense, it would be قضيت, I spent. Like for example, if you're a person who spent 2 years in college, for example, as most of us do here in the UK anyway. College meaning what you do before university. Maybe in America you guys call it high school. Maybe that's what high school is. But anyway, if you say something like that, you could say قضيت سنة واحدة في الكلية. You know, قضيت سنة واحدة, قضيت سنتين. If it was 2 years, sorry. If it was 1 year, it'd be قضيت سنة واحدة But if it's 2 years, سنتين في الكلية, in the college, or in college. Okay, so he spent يومه, his day, كله. He spent his day, all of it, في خارج البيت, in the outside of the house. خارج البيت. It just means outside the house. What was he doing? ويلعب مع أشباهه. So ويلعب, and he's playing, and he plays. The verb لعب يلعب, I mean to play, مع, with أشباهه. So who are his أشباه? Excuse me, the term شبه means to be similar to something. The term تشبه, I believe, is actually a fiqhi term meaning like imitation, تشبه. And even the term tashbih is quite a useful one to remember. It means a simile, like when you're reading poetry and stuff. Tashbih. Good, but his ashbah are the people who are similar to him. Like his, I don't know, his, not companions, because we translate that as ashab, but his contemporaries, maybe, or his... It really just means his friends. Do you know what I mean? It means the other youths that are similar to him, right? مع أشباهه من الأولاد, from among the boys. Let's carry on reading a little bit more, inshallah. We don't have to do loads, but I'd like to do another couple of lines, maybe. Okay, good. So who are these أولاد? We're down here, by the way. I'm going to highlight here where we are. الذي ألفوا بطالة واللعب. So الذين ألفوا. This root is to do with kind of coming together. I believe there's an ayah in Surah Al-Anfal, I believe. وَأَلَّفَ بَيْنَ قُلُوبِهِمْ. And he وَأَلَّفَ بَيْنَ قُلُوبِهِمْ. He brought their hearts together. I believe that ayah is referring to the Ansar and the Muhajirun, how he brought their hearts together. But anyway, so الَّذِينَ أَلِفُوا بَطَالَةَ وَاللَّعِبَ. They come together in batala. The term batala can even mean like unemployment. It just means, in this case, kind of shenanigans. They're not really making use of their lives. وَاللَّعِبَ, and playfulness. That's what they do. They're not elifu with something good. They're not coming together for their studies or something like that. They are elifu al-batalata wal-la'iba. Until what? حتى ساء خلقه. So hatta means until, in this case. Sa'a. Sa'a just means to become worse, or to badify. That's not a word, but to become worse. Bismillah. Till what became worse? His khuluq. His khuluq means his etiquette. I believe the term akhlaq, which we often use like in English and stuff when we're talking about Islam, and we're talking about our akhlaq, that's actually the plural of the term khuluq. But as we learned in the last lesson with the term bilad, sometimes plurals can be used as singulars sometimes, with a few examples. The term bilad, which we encountered in the previous lesson, meaning like the land of somewhere, that's actually a plural of the term beled. And there's kind of a super plural, buldan, as well. I believe we'd use both of them in the Arabic in 60 Steps program. But anyway, so khuluq is his etiquette, So his etiquette became bad because of all of these wrong-uns, who are all ألف وبطالة واللعبة. وصار بعد قليل من الزمن وصار, and he became. Sara is from the sisters of Kana as well, and means pretty much the same thing as أصبح. بعد قليل, after a little, من الزمان, or الزمن in this case, after a little bit of time. He became أسوأ مثال للأطفال. Good, yeah, so he became like the worst. Su means bad or evil in some way, but أسوأ is that he became kind of the worst. مثال للأطفال. He kind of became the worst of the examples among the children, or among the youths. وكان علاء الدين على ذكائه. So, علاء الدين became على ذكائه. ذكاء. I mean, sort of despite his intelligence, perhaps. على ذكائه, شديد العناد. So al-inad is his stubbornness. He became severely stubborn. فقد نصح له أبوه أن يقلع عن معاشرة الأشرار. Good. Okay, so فقد نصح. So نصح, we know this term نصيحة, meaning an advice, the plural of which is نصائح. But a نصيحة is an advice. So his father, his أبوه, نصح له. His father advised him, and يقلع. يقلع in this case just means to leave something. عن معاشرتي. So so this expression معاشرة الأشرار, it means kind of the bad relationships, the bad friendships that he has. And then in brackets the author explains for us يتركه مصاحبتهم. So to leave their companionship. I mean, that's not an uncommon conversation for fathers to have with their sons, that they've got bad friends. Good. ويبتعد عن رفقاء السوء. ويبتعد. So the verb ابتعد, form 10 verb, means to distance yourself from. Obviously it shares a root with the term بعيد. بعيد meaning far away. That's an adjective meaning far away. And the verb is always in Fusha, to the best of my knowledge, used with the preposition عن. Sometimes in Arami it's used with min. You can say, هذا المسجد بعيد من is far from something. ذلك المسجد بعيد مني. It's far away from me. Because you use the term قريب to mean close to something, and you use قريب min, you say close min something. But with بعيد in Fusha you should use بعيد عن, and that's why we have يبتعد عن رفقائه. So you should distance yourself from. I believe it's kind of a synonym with اجتنب in Surah Al-Hujurat, when Allah says اجتنبوا كثيرا من الظن, that you should leave off dhann, having suspicions about other people. Some of the quite simple tafasir that I've read, they just translate اجتنبوا with ابتعدوا, and they do essentially mean the same thing. His رفقاء just means his friends in this case. A rafiq is different to a sadiq, I suppose. Rafiq, but those kinds of distinctions, they're not really important for this. So it really just means his bad friends, really. That's it. That's all we really need to know here. Let's carry on reading a little bit more. Even though we are at a full stop here, it would be a good place to stop, but I think we've got some useful language coming up, so maybe we'll just run through it. So, وحاول. حاول, form 3 verb. حاول, in the present tense, يحاول, means to try to do something. سوف أحاول, I will try to do something, is to try to do something. Not to try as in to taste something. The verb جرب would be for that. Or at least it is in Ammiya anyway. أجرب, I will try something. But I believe it is the case in Fusha as well. It means to try as in to attempt to do something. Good. So, وحاول جهده أن يعلمه صناعة تنفعه إذا كبر or كبر. Good. So he tried جهده, his efforts. He tried his efforts, and يعلمه, to teach him. He put effort into teaching him صناعة. صناعة means like industry, really, but in this case it kind of means a trade or something. Tried to teach him a trade. تنفعه, which will benefit him. We've seen the term نفع already in this text previously, I believe, but it's the opposite of ضر, to harm someone. So to teach him a trade. تنفعه إذا كبر. It says كبر here, but I'd have thought it would have been كبر. The verb كبر means to grow. So when he grows up, basically, it will benefit him when he grows up to have a trade. I mean, his scenario is that he is a khayyat, that he's a tailor, and he's trying to teach his son a trade that will benefit him as well. Either kabira or kabura. I mean, kabira, I haven't looked it up, but I've never seen it before. I've only seen the verb written as kabura, to grow. I mean, typically in Arabic, with these kind of triliteral verbs, with these thulathi verbs, they're typically along the top, like kataba or jalasa or qara'a or darasa. That's about maybe 80% of verbs. Maybe another 15% are a verbs like shariba and alima and fahima, right? They have a kasra over the ayn letter or the middle letter. And there's a very small percentage of verbs that have a dhamma on them. And in my experience, they're usually verbs to do with size. Just a few examples: kabura, to get bigger; saghura, to get smaller; azuma, to become greater. Maybe qasura is a verb as well, to kind of become shorter, perhaps. But they're often to do with size, and they're not a huge percentage of verbs that are like that. But I've only seen kabura used like that. So let's do a little bit more. فلم يقبل له نصحا. فلم يقبل, and he did not accept. Yeah, the verb qabila means to accept something. I believe in I don't know if it's like an Islamic thing or if it's mainly South Asian cultures, but they say like the qabul means like the acceptance in a wedding, like the nikah. One of them says like qabul hai, like it's accepted, right? That is a done deal. فلم يقبل له, he did not accept for him nushan, his nush, his nasiha, his advice. Often there are verbs that have multiple mastars or masadir, if that's the plural, right? So often they have multiple, right? And this term nasiha, it looks like nasiha. It has a synonym nush, and they're both mastars of the verb nasaha. Let's have a look. Okay, we'll finish this line because that'll round it off quite nicely. Okay, so وضاعت وجود أبيه بلا فائدة. So وضاعت, the verb ضاع يضيع, I believe. Add it to your hollow verbs in lesson 9 if you're on the program. ضاع, because we don't actually cover this verb, means to lose something. وضاعت. The wow isn't part of the verb. It's not wada'at. The verb is just da'at, yadiru. So his wujud lost, the wujud of his father. Yeah, the wujud of his father were lost bila fa'ida, without a fa'ida, without a benefit. Fa'ida. Good, so that's everything for this video. What I'm going to do, I'm going to turn the lights off quickly just to demonstrate this Qur'an moon lamp to you because I absolutely love it. So, it's really cool actually because on the app, you can download this app right here. Okay, and I can put the volume up. We'll play some Qur'an. Let's change the reciter. Let's have, if you're a bit of a Sudais kind of person. So you've got all these different reciters, I'll show you. Look, all these different reciters, all your faves. Abu Bakr al-Shatri is a favourite of mine. Mahir al-Mu'ayqili is definitely my favourite. I like the echo of that voice, I'm into that kind of thing. So, and then anyway, you can change the colour of this as well. I'm going to turn the lights off. So yeah, look, let's go blue. And then you can even make it brighter. Okay, so let's go. The orange for the Arabic in 60 Steps program isn't that good, unfortunately. Yeah, but that's the orange, the yellow, the green, the blue, the red. That's my son's favourite. Light blue, that's cute as well. But all the ones in the middle are actually much nicer. They seem to be a bit more Milky Way galaxy colours. But anyways, so I love that. So for those of you who don't know, we're doing a giveaway of one of these. There's a few different conditions for you if you want to win one of these. You need to comment under every single one of the videos in this series. You need to share it with somebody, whether that just be someone that you know on WhatsApp or on your Facebook group or your Facebook account or whatever. You also need to like each of the videos as well. So if you do that for each one of the videos in this series, at the end you're going to have a chance of winning one of these, and one of these as well. So there's a value of about £100, and yeah, it gives me great pleasure to do this. So that's really cool. Let's have the lights back on then. So that's it for this video. Really hope that you guys have enjoyed it, and I hope you benefited a little bit as well, inshallah. And so that's it until next week. We'll try our very, very best to get these out every Monday, inshallah. But if there's ever any reason why not, something comes up or whatever, you know, I've got to do something with the kids or whatever, then I'll let you all know on Instagram, inshallah. So please make sure that you're following Arabic in 60 Steps on Instagram so that you can stay in touch, and we can let you know if ever anything goes wrong or we need to reschedule one of the lessons or anything, inshallah. Lastly, if you do want to become one of the students on the Arabic in 60 Steps program for this cohort starting on September the 1st, we have 4 spaces left. So if you want to get your hands on one of these books and be part of the cohort for September, then there are only a handful of spaces left for you, inshallah. So please get stuck in, and that's it. Have a great week. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.